Dina is a project manager. She operates in Asia, the Middle East, Russia, and CIS. She has developed key practice skills through her work. In June 2013, she joined Energy Institute as a member of a Young Professionals Network Committee in London, and in 2015 held a position of the vice chair. Can we give her a round of applause?
Morning, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm not going to be standing there. I'm going to be interacting with you because I changed my topic last night because Peter encouraged me to wake you up a little bit and to talk. Thanks. To have a blend of the motivational speech and the energy-focused speech. Do you hear me well, right? Okay. So how many of you think that they live beyond their boundaries and they developed all their talents? Can I have hands up, please? Okay, not many. So you're determined and they're probably self-motivated. No, it's okay, it's too early. Because I truly believe that we have the lifetime to discover all our talents and to develop them. And how do we define our talent? Like how we come across, like what are we talented or gifted in? Of course, we start our journey with the parents' help. We're under this big lens when they're trying to spot what are we good at and whatever they can develop to make us become engineers, doctors, lawyers. I'm not an exception. I went through the nightmare of a number of sports schools and tortured the music classes, like playing the piano, and went through the injuries at the ballet dance. But yeah, but I have to finish whatever I was doing because from the very early age, my parents were telling me, if you have started something, you have to finish it. So they brought me up with the discipline of finishing. But I wasn't satisfied with the average result. I was always thinking why there is someone who is better than me. Even though I'm not good at ballet dance or I'm terrible at the music, why there is someone who is better? What those person has, what I'm lacking of. So if I live beyond the boundaries, I will give you an example what I would be like maybe. So when I was 7 and I went to my first class at school, we had an essay to write whom I want to be when I grow up. And my classmates were writing about being a policeman, a doctor, or an astronaut. I'm from Russia. It was a big thing that time. And I said, I don't know whom I want to be, but I want to study in Moscow State University. And the reason for that was that we lived nearby and we went for a walk there almost every second evening. And I asked my father a question. What do I need to do to be able to go on the top and see that red Soviet star, which was very, very beautiful, by the way? And the answer was, you have to be a student. So you're going to be able to go on the top floor and to see that star. I was 7. And through all my school years, I was told by my teachers that I will never be able to enter any good university or obtain the technical degree because I was terrible at math. I was honestly terrible at math. And I had the dream, so that building was inspiring me to be part of that community, actually. So at my high school, I took the 3 times a week a tutor of mathematics who was throwing my notepads, pencils out of his window because he was losing a temper. I was really very bad. And he said, I'm hopeless and I have no future, whatever. But by the time I finished my high school, I wanted to become an economist. So I was determined. And 2 years later of this intensive training and intensive learning and catching up on all those skills I was lacking as the economist or mathematician, 2 years later I received a letter from the university that I am actually accepted to the School of Economics. So what would happen with me if I lived within those boundaries which were set by my school teachers or by my parents who looked at me as the doctor? I mean, I'm coming from the family of doctors. So I wouldn't be there, really. And so look beyond the boundaries and look what is there, what you want to do. And the main challenge here is actually to inspire people within ourselves to do whatever we feel like doing, whatever our passion tells us. And we shouldn't be really good from the very beginning, because if we are determined, if we are motivated, we can achieve with our hard work, of course. So I always ask myself, I reflect a lot on whatever I'm doing, because I think the critical thinking and the reflection is the key to self-development. So I always ask myself 3 questions. First one is, can I do it? Do I have enough time, enough skills, enough knowledge to do whatever required to be done? The second question, will it work? Will all my effort, will all my investments be paid off and will help me to achieve the goal I set? And if the answers are no, then comes a question, can I obtain the skills and knowledge via the education or training? And just think about those 2 words, education and training. If there is a difference between them, school education, high school education, university, even higher education. But when you come into your career, into the industry, it's all about training. And I personally don't like that word, because the training is the set of actions and set of, skills you are receiving and feedback on. So what would you prefer, to know how to do it or be trained how to do it? And I always wanted to know how to do it. So I'm actually a big fan of the education, because I got my first job because of the education. I was skipping a lecture at the university, and I was wandering around the campus, and I ended up at the career fair. Yes. So 3 weeks later, I received my job offer from the every Russian dream employer. It was a Gazprom. Yes, funny enough. And after 3 months, I felt like I'm a shark of oil and gas business. I'm there, and I know how to run the world. And during the lunch break with my colleagues who were there for like 7, 8 years, I asked them, what is our CEO like? What is his like as a person? They were there for 7 or 8 years, and none of them met a CEO. Okay, so I came back to my workplace, and I wrote him an email. And I said that I would like to meet a person whose position I want to take in 15 years' time. Thank you. Thank you. I don't know really what I have been thinking about. But he responded. And he gave me a 15-minute time slot within his busy schedule. And I thought, okay, for 1 minute he's probably going to be staring at me, and 14 he's going to be laughing. But by the end of the meeting, I left his office with my personal development plan within the company and the grant for my master's. Thank you. So was it worth it? And always think, are the consequences of your actions or whatever you do are worth your effort and are worth your investments and your time? So, and if you work towards the positive consequences, you feel good. You feel that you are doing something right and you are driven by that. But when you're working towards avoiding the reverse consequences, you feel controlled. I have another question to you. How many of you are avoiding failure? Right. I was also doing the same. And I thought that when my alarm clock was going off, I was like, oh, I have to go to work, or I have to go to the university. And then I just switched. I switched from I have to I get to. I get an opportunity to go to work. I get the opportunity to go to university and to learn something new. So I switched from the failure avoider to the success seeker. I switched from the person who was thinking that his personal development will be appreciated by promotions and by, I don't know, involvement in the high-profile projects. I became the person who was looking into getting into any interesting opportunity my life brings me across to. And when I switched that attitude, I went into the 10-year loop. Can you switch to the other slide? I reflected that, okay, I'm going to be retired in 2047. And yeah, I already knew that. But I started my journey in 2008 with a just bachelor degree. And I entered the world of the energy, which you cannot predict even tomorrow. And I was educated just for that certain time I am in. What would it be like in 2047? I had no clue. But I wanted to know that I am prepared to be there in a 30-year time. So this is my reflection on, it's a caterpillar diagram, really, because this is a blend of the full-time education and the full-time career development, because without education, you are not competitive. That's what I found out for myself. I felt that I am not really competitive because there is always someone elder, more experienced, or just at least a male. Exactly. So this is a very, that's quite a challenging decade for me. But within the 10-year time, I finished my bachelor, I got 2 masters, I finished my PhD last year, and I moved countries, and I'm here whenever I am. So I steadily grew my career from just a general accountant or analyst to the director and a project manager of the business development in the big fund in London. So was it worth it? I mean, when you sit and reflect on the choices you have in life, whatever choice you make, it makes you motivated. So it really was worth it, I mean, personally for me, but does it mean I'm going to stop? Of course not. So there is so much I am still desperate to learn. So when I made a choice to invest in my career, I perceived a motivation. And when you actually sit down and reflect on your choices you have or you have already made, it means that you are self-driven. It means that you are competent. It means that you have a self-criticism, which is crucial in any personal development, to sit down and look back whatever you've done or you haven't done. And the last C word I'm going to use in my speech is the community. We all surrounded by people, and to feel the shoulder of this, the driven person, maybe from even other industry or other sector, will make you feel more motivated because you're going to see example of other success story or other failure. Maybe you will learn from that mistakes. And when you surround yourself with the driven people, with the interesting people, you can learn from them. There was something I had a failure back in my early years. Can you, another slide? Yeah. So my mom took me to the drawing class, and that was the result of that. And you think, oh, it's a very good drawing for a 3-4-year-old girl. Yes, I was 12. So that was the failure, and that was a disaster. So we walked out of that room, and I never made my way anywhere around drawing or art. But now I'm here in London, and I have a few artist friends who are absolutely outside of this world, and they are so different from me. And I took that opportunity really to learn from them, to develop my creativity, because when you enter the managing position, or when you enter the role of a leader, or a team leader, you have to be creative to motivate people, to lead them and to encourage them to do whatever it takes. So of course there is a room for creativity, and I was just stuck in that numbers and analytical job. So I started going for live drawing sessions, and this is my work 2 weeks ago. Oh, thank you, you make me blush. So the community and the feeling of the people around you and being around the talented and gifted people gives you the perception of the consequences. You can set the goals together. You can look whatever other people achieved and look and reflect on your own goals. You can also teach each other about the consequences. You can let them perceive a choice for you, or you can perceive a choice for them and help each other being motivated and driven. And we all need each other because we are all unique, we are all passionate, because we're all here on Saturday. So we all need each other. It's very good audience. So we all need each other. Sit, communicate, and reflect. Thank you very much.